Talent gets attention, but consistency builds outcomes. Talent may give someone a fast start, but it does not guarantee a long journey. Every field, every profession, every competitive space shows the same pattern. The people who show up repeatedly, improve steadily, and continue working even when excitement disappears are the ones who quietly move ahead. Consistency is not loud. It does not create dramatic moments every day. Instead, it creates small, repeatable actions that compound into results too large to ignore. Many people believe success belongs to the most gifted individuals. Yet history repeatedly proves that reliable performers often outperform naturally talented ones. A talented person who works only when motivated produces inconsistent results, while an average person who commits to daily improvement slowly builds skill, discipline, and experience that becomes difficult to compete with. Over time, effort becomes mastery, repetition becomes confidence, and steady practice turns into authority. Consistency removes the emotional dependency that stops progress. When action depends on mood, productivity rises and falls. Some days feel powerful, other days feel slow, and when emotions control effort, momentum disappears. Consistency replaces that unstable system with structure. It creates a rule. Work happens regardless of how you feel. This simple shift separates those who occasionally perform well from those who continually move forward. The consistent individual does not wait for perfect conditions. They operate under all conditions, and because of that reliability, progress continues even when motivation is low. Small daily actions often look insignificant in the moment. Practicing for 1 hour, writing 1 page, learning 1 concept, making 1 improvement, or completing 1 disciplined task rarely feels impressive. Yet these actions do something powerful. They accumulate. After weeks, the results become visible. After months, they become measurable. After years, they become extraordinary. Talent might create sudden bursts of success, but consistency creates sustained advancement that cannot easily be replaced. Consistency also builds trust. In professional environments, leaders trust individuals who deliver repeatedly, not occasionally. Teams rely on people who complete tasks on time, maintain standards, and show stability in performance. Clients, employers, and collaborators value predictability because predictable excellence creates confidence. A person known for steady execution becomes indispensable, while a talented but unreliable performer creates uncertainty. Another advantage of consistency is skill refinement. Repetition sharpens awareness. When you practice daily, you notice small errors faster, adjust methods quicker, and improve techniques more precisely. Talent may provide a natural advantage at the beginning, but consistent training multiplies ability. Over time, the gap between the naturally gifted but inconsistent performer and the disciplined, consistent performer begins to shrink, and eventually it often reverses. Consistency also strengthens mental resilience. Showing up daily trains the mind to move beyond excuses. At first, discipline feels uncomfortable because it requires action without emotional support. Gradually, the mind adapts. Resistance becomes smaller, effort feels more natural, and commitment becomes part of identity. A consistent person stops negotiating with temporary discomfort and begins operating from a position of internal stability. Many people overestimate what can be done in a single dramatic effort and underestimate what can be achieved through repeated small actions. They chase big breakthroughs while ignoring the quiet system that produces real transformation. A consistent schedule, a defined routine, and clear priorities may look ordinary, but they create extraordinary outcomes when followed over long periods. This is why long-term performers rarely rely on sudden bursts of productivity. They rely on systems that keep them moving every day. Consistency also simplifies decision-making. When actions become routine, fewer mental battles occur. Instead of asking, "Should I work today?" the consistent individual asks, "How well will I execute today?" This shift removes wasted energy. Time that was previously spent debating whether to act becomes time spent improving performance. Momentum grows because friction decreases. Another overlooked power of consistency is confidence creation. confidence is not built from occasional success. It is built from repeated proof. Each completed task, each maintained commitment, and each day of disciplined effort sends a message to the mind. Progress is happening. Over time, this repeated proof strengthens belief in one's ability to achieve long-term goals. Confidence becomes grounded in experience rather than temporary excitement. Consistency also protects against discouragement. When people depend only on large achievements to feel successful, slow progress becomes frustrating. But when the focus shifts to daily execution, every completed action becomes a small victory. Progress feels visible even before major results appear. This steady sense of advancement keeps motivation alive and prevents the emotional collapse that often follows delayed rewards. The competitive advantage of consistency becomes clearer over long periods. Many individuals start strong, full of enthusiasm and energy, but gradually reduce effort as challenges appear. The consistent performer may not start with the highest speed, but by maintaining steady movement while others slow down, they eventually move ahead. Persistence turns time into an ally, and with enough time, repeated effort creates outcomes that seem surprising to observers who only notice the final result. Consistency also allows learning to deepen. Skills are not only built through repetition, but also through reflection. When actions occur daily, feedback cycles become shorter, mistakes are identified sooner, adjustments are applied faster, and improvement accelerates. Sporadic effort delays this learning process because each gap resets momentum. Daily engagement keeps the learning curve active. Another powerful effect of consistency is identity transformation. When someone repeatedly performs disciplined actions, those actions stop feeling like external tasks and begin feeling like part of who they are. A person who writes every day begins to see themselves as a writer. A person who trains daily begins to see themselves as disciplined. Identity shapes behavior, and once consistency becomes part of identity, maintaining effort requires less mental force. Consistency also reduces fear of large goals. Big ambitions often appear overwhelming when viewed as single events. However, when those goals are divided into daily repeatable actions, they become manageable. Each small step completed removes a portion of the distance between the present moment and the desired outcome. Over time, what once looked impossible becomes the natural result of sustained daily execution. Even creativity benefits from consistency. Many believe creativity appears only when inspiration strikes, yet creative professionals often produce their best work by showing up regularly regardless of mood. Repeated engagement with the craft increases the likelihood of breakthroughs because the mind remains actively involved in the process. Inspiration often visits those already working, not those waiting for perfect emotional conditions. Consistency is also a form of self-respect. Keeping commitments to your own goals strengthens internal reliability. When you consistently follow through on plans, you build trust with yourself, and that trust becomes a foundation for larger achievements. Broken commitments weaken that foundation, while honored commitments strengthen it day after day. In competitive environments, consistency creates endurance. Short bursts of effort may win small moments, but long journeys require sustained action. The individual who continues moving when others pause, continues learning when others become comfortable, and continues improving when others relax, eventually builds an advantage that cannot be matched by occasional intense effort alone.